Thank you for staying with us. About 3 months after President Bola Tinubu signed the new minimum wage into law, more than 7 states are still delaying its approval. These states include Zamfara, Sokoto, Osun, Cross River, Imo, Plateau, Taraba, and the Federal Capital Territory. Meanwhile, 25 other states have either begun paying the new minimum wage or have announced the amount they will pay. Workers across the country have continued to express their frustration over the ongoing economic hardship, pointing out that 70,000 naira is no longer sufficient to meet their needs. Joining us in the studio is Razak Olukoba, the convener of the Campaign for Dignity and Governance. Razak, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
If you look at the papers this morning, NLC has said that December the 1st, there should be a strike if there's no compliance for the minimum wage. And there are also those who believe that enough time has been given to some of these states to look inward to see what capacity they have and what they can offer to their workers. But from what we are seeing, some of them, about 7 of them, are yet to do that. What do you make of this?
Well, thank you very much for having me once again this morning. I align my position with Labour and all other Nigerians that feel bad that some governors have not complied. In fact, it's amazing to also know, also a shock, that even the 21,000 naira wage, it was after the agreement between Labour and the government that some states started paying the 21,000 naira. Some states came in late. And it is not good, not only for Labour, but for the workers, the organized workers. It tells you the approach of some of the governors to the question of the economy of their state. The guest you brought earlier said that there's no government or there's no state that cannot generate power on its own. In the same way, there's no state in the country that does not have the capacity to pay the 7,000 naira. The financial model we run in Nigeria is indulging. And that is why many states became so lazy not to look inward and see how they can make extra naira for themselves. We are not supposed to wait until we begin to see consequences of the way we run Nigeria before we begin to address it. We knew it's going to come to this. We knew it's going to come to a time when federal government will not be able to pick all the beats of the state government. We knew it's going to come to this. And it was sounding a note of warning. As activists and experts or management, I'm a chartered public administrator, that the model we run in Nigeria is dangerous for the economy of our country. And it's going to come to a time where federal government will not be able to pick the bills of the state again. And it's just imagine. In fact, the regular fund that government gives states in terms of what is called a state allocation, if we don't borrow in the last 10 years, federal government will not be able to pay it. And that is not encouraging at all. We should be giving to states what we are making as a nation to state. If we leave it to that, many states will get money that will not be able to pay the salary in their states. And that is why all of us should speak in unison that all the state governors should be able to assess how rickety their state and take that courageous move. If some states don't have capacity to become state, merge it with another state. It's not
Is that a courageous move?
That is a courageous move. It's not late.
There are those calling for the creation of more
rather
states.
Than that, calling for more states, to me, is we don't know. That's why you stop at corporate governance. There also should be corporate followership. Because if you think in a corporate manner, there are demands we are not going to be making. If you are making demand at this stage of our life to create for more, that's not corporate followership. The ones we have, they are in rickety shape. 70% of the economically in a rickety shape, and you want to create more. So I don't know at what point we realize the mess we are. So for me, all the states that are expressing the inability to pay this fund, should tell Nigerians that we can't stand as a state again. It's your duty as the governor to take care of the welfare of your state.
Absolutely.
And there's something funny that governors begin to say to federal government these days that this is our state. We will spend our money the way we like. That's an error. As long as it is the federal government that fends for you, federal government will decide the direction of how you are going to spend your money. At least by half. So if you generate your fund, you can take initiative to spend your money.
But
so also federal government, yeah, the fact must have a say in how you spend it.
So are you saying this
part of it is the welfare of your labor?
Are you saying this
part of it is also to say that the money I give you, I must monitor it through agencies like ICPC and EFCC. There's a social network that binds all of us together.
So are you saying
that not completely independent as a state? No, but neither is federal government completely independent, either from the people or from local or the state government. And that's why you see local government at times taking federal government to court on certain issues.
So are you saying that the current federal system is not working for many states, seeing that they cannot even pay minimum wage?
They can't pay the minimum wage because they see money coming from the Father Christmas called federal government.
That's why I asked if the current system is working.
It's not working. Why we will continue to have this kind of challenge? But a smart state, there are about 10 states in this country that I give kudos to the stakeholders of those states. It's about the states like Rivers, it's about the state of Kano, particularly Lagos. They knew what is going to come in the future. They took care of the challenge that is going to emerge in transport sector. They brought up last month, Kai for security, to complement the unavoidable challenge that's going to come in the future. So, and they create an economic base for themselves to have more money. That's why you will see that the Lagos state government don't pursue policy of sending people back to their state, except if they are pushed to the wall. They have a way of using their challenge into turning their challenge into prosperity. Why are other states using it to make the federal government more? Asking for creation of more local government, asking for more funds from federal government. You don't run state country like that and think the economy of your country will be in proper shape. So for us, the Tinubu administration has a challenge, a responsibility, because we consider him an expert in this direction, to clinically look at the structure in the country and do the needful. The national grid, my colleague that left said, spoke about extensively, is one of the very good examples that this government must do something about urgently. So also, the financial model, how resources of the country is being distributed, we have to look into it. We have to begin to disengage the federal government from first, that's where it starts from first, compelling states, that is intergovernmental dictatorship, to say that state must submit fund you make to federal government. It's dictatorship. And the state must also be encouraged to say that within a space of 10 years, we want to see every state that has been identified with a particular resources to begin to turn it around for economic purpose. Any state that has gold, that have bitumen, that have lead, that have tantalum, that have californium, and is still sitting on it, it's not only patriotic, but is running an illegal affair. Is part of the state that is traumatizing our people, because you can't be sitting like Kogi State. And many of the things you mentioned here, they are sitting on
Zamfara,
resources.
for instance.
They are sitting on resources. You are not mining your resources. You are complaining that federal government is not giving you money. That is anti-people. That's unpatriotic.
So how do we change that?
We have to start with our advocacy first. Then we have to put up a legislation. You can't be sitting on resources and be complaining that you don't have money.
Although I'm just
cannot continue.
I'm reading a report
illegal mining.
Right, where the governor is saying he will pay.
You will pay. Why you are not? You are not converting that resources for state use. There's a state in this country that cows through their states come into Nigeria, 5,000 cows every day. And you leave that cow like Ebi. That cow enters the country without any form of taxation. You have to monetize it. And they come to Nigeria to sell those cows. If you say they'll turn into ethnic issue that you are trying to traumatize our people. there is no guarantee of prosperity for Nigeria with this kind of corporate followership. So that demand, we are making the demand that federal government should join labor, just like the rest are joining labor now. That all those states, there's no excuse for them to pay, and the December 1st strike should be indefinite. The strike should be indefinite.
Why?
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I consider strikes before as non-workable again. But on this note, they must bring those governors to their knees.
What do that change? Your statement is looking insightful, like you were trying to incite
Labor, you said.
Incite labor against the states.
Labor has said that from December 1st.
Yes.
I'm a member of civil society.
Yes,
your
language.
Our tradition.
Your language.
Our tradition. I say it should be indefinite. It says indefinite.
No, you are saying you should bring the governors to their knees.
No, the governor. I didn't say government. I said the
governors.
I didn't say government.
I didn't say government.
The governors should be brought
to their knees.
They should be humbled. They should reprioritize. That's to define what I mean by bringing them to their knees.
Very good.
They have to reprioritize what they do in their states. That's what I mean by that. You buy newspaper in a month, 10 million naira. And it doesn't stop all these governors from traveling overseas. It doesn't stop them from taking ailments we can treat in Nigeria.
So that's what I'm asking. What will this strike change, really? Because if you go on strike, the governor can still travel. Yeah. The governor can still do whatever he wants to. So it doesn't stop whatever it is he wants to do.
Doesn't stop his salary.
Will that make him see reason to pay what he's supposed to pay to the workers?
There's no governor that likes strike, either state, local government, or federal. It is you that think that it doesn't have effect on those governments. It doesn't have effect. When they strike in Nigeria, it affects federal government. Activities will be slowed down. His own personal needs of why you prioritize certain things over the other will also be stalled. Because the government process that we use to carry those priorities out.
But do we have to even come to this point?
That's the question we should have in the governors. We don't have to come to this point where will be dragging you to do the needful. So even that money, we know is a very small money, but let's start from somewhere. Then the question of bringing labor into it to ensure that the price of commodities are coming down is also a second stage that you must bring labor into, because the prices is just one of the numerous angles to cushion the effect of hardship in Nigeria. The follow-up is that the state government, who has the responsibility of ensuring that the farmlands become workable and accessible to farmers, they have that responsibility too. We'll come to that later. But the first stage is this money. Then labor has a wide and enormous network to ensure that price of commodities are ascertained. That what do you spend to build your house? At what point do you think you should be collecting 5 million naira on a 3-bedroom flat in Nigeria? At what point? What's the measure? How do you measure that? How do you arrive at that? Labor needs to come into that with civil society, and that's why I said there are some levels of legislation that must compel the state government to do the needful. And the first stage is advocacy. The second one is legislation. That there should be no state that will have resources in their state, rich in resources, but poor in practical time. That should no longer be tolerated. And if we don't do that, that's how nations are around all over the world.
Okay, so
if we don't do that, the consequence is what we are facing. And look at it now. There are sections of this country again that if you go to regular security outfit to do something, you go to all these unconventional outfit too to take permission. There are states in the north today that if you want to pass through, you must pay homage to the bandits. You must pay homage to the kidnappers in the east. You must pay homage to the militants in the south. This is the consequence. The genesis of which is what these governors are doing. It became an available point of recruitment when you have economic depression and you don't address it. It leads to a corresponding moral depression. And moral depression is banditry, kidnapping, hooliganism. And you know very well, Veronica, my brother, that crime rise, it develops, it germinates from pickpockets. It goes into armed robbery, it goes to banditry, it goes to kidnapping. The genesis is what these governors are doing. So if you don't recognize the umbilical cord that links smaller crime to a bigger crime, we are going to lose our country, and I hope that's not going to happen. The aim to it is to do the needful. The needful is to, you say, I should not use that language again. That should bring some of these governors to their knees. You have to compel them to reprioritize. You can't be doing projects that has nothing to do with the economic prosperity of the people. And you won't be able to pay salary.
What kinds of projects don't have economic prosperity?
You should ask the governors, because you collect allocation every month, 10 billion, 15 billion. I can't pay 70,000 naira. You should be asking the governor. I'm not the accounting officer of those streets. You should be asking them that, what are you spending people's money on? You should be asking them, those governors, the questions. And I'm totally and completely against freedom for local government. Component part of state is local government. But I had a rumor that governors convert local government funding to dollar immediately they collect it. So for now, let's operate on this model until we bring sanity to our polity, into governance.
Okay, so
let's create a barricade around the local government funding.
The fact that you mentioned that it's a rumor.
I said that I had a rumor. I had as a rumor, but you
can't act on that.
But you have not had that rumor too.
No.
You have not had that. Okay, I'm telling you as a rumor
it's still grave.
No, I can't spread rumors because you haven't verified. So I can't.
I wonder why local government will no longer be part of state government. I think I had to investigate as an expert in that direction. And it came to me as a rumor. If that is if that is true,
it's a rumor because you haven't investigated. So there's no need. There's no need emphasizing.
But there's no reason because there's no reason why local should not be part of state. So the only tenable reason I can assume maybe it is true is what are the rumor that happened. Okay, if that is the reason, okay, let's assume, let's agree with.
And I'm saying there's no need building on that.
Emphasize it again so that let's move forward.
Because you kept emphasizing. No, we do not allow spreading of rumors on this table.
See, you leave yourself to be rumored if you don't do the right thing. The governors lose themselves to be rumored. Because why will you say you should have control of a fund again? You give yourself at a stage where people will pass rumors about you. When there's that, you go to all local government before it was taken off. You see Lagos state government and local government joint fund working on the project all over Lagos. Go to some states. So you leave yourself for people to pass all sorts of rumor about you. And that's to our governors.
But they never learn from that. Have they shown that they learn?
They have not learned. This is why they are not paying this government. And that is why our advocacy should be in unison. We have to agree on this point.
Who's going to push for that advocacy?
This time you should be using it for advert and making millions of naira. But you dedicated to this topic, and kudos to TVC for that. That's part of it. So, and I know other stations are doing it. So, and that is why it's a sequence. After advocacy, you take practical steps, and that is the practical step that Federal is running away from. This indefinite strike. That I say, well, all impact will limit. It's not to make impact. Let activities of governance in that state stop as from December. I support them in doing that. But there should be, like I said, it doesn't stop at that. After 7,000 naira, does it make sense that I spent, when minimum wage was 21,000, I spent 21, and I spent 80,000 on myself. Now it's 70,000 naira, it came to 200,000 naira. What shouldn't we stop that? And the way to stop that is what I said, that all of us must then be involved. Let's look. It's me and you that are in the market, selling things in the market. It's not Malians. It's not forming from Guinea Conakry or something from Cameroon. It's me and you. So when it comes to that change, you must first accept that what concerns me, I need to change about it.
Okay.
So it comes to Yaloja now. It comes to the chain of where food products comes into the country, into the state. It's from one state to the other. There's a place in Kwara that is called Kosubosu. We can be producing 100,000 bags of rice every day. Labor should compel Governor Razak to repair that road.
Those are the issues that labor should start facing.
Yes, start facing. That you can put, and if you see the rice, you will be assuming that is this rice from China, because you see thoroughly parboiled rice that you look at, shiny, good for eating. So, and there are challenges of nature in all these states. So that's the second stage. So that prices of commodity will come down. Landlord must also be speaking to transport owners.
These issues that you are raising, we have mentioned several times that labor should look in those areas, but labor hasn't over time.
And that is the reason why I said that the labor also has a responsibility. They assume that this is a military era, where you just speak, forgetting that it's a shared responsibility to make the life of workers more comfortable. It's not only about federal government, state government too. It's also part of our responsibility. But the armchair struggle they have been waging makes it easier. There's the crash strike from military day. It's what they are still employing today, and it has to change. And that's why I don't go to coalition of civil society and labor meetings again, because of this kind of resolve, not to do anything outside strike. That is not how to run labor activities and labor organizations as a leader in the world. That's not to do. So To the governors now, we want to tell them that don't they see where the country is dragging to? You see, until they call for another hunger strike in this country, that they must know that something must be done about the hunger in the country. You see, until someone starts raising maybe an American flag now, before they will know that something must be done about it. And that is why the president should be bitter with all these governors that are not doing the needful. You should be bitter about them. The whole question of independence of state structures of government, state and dictatorship is not there. As long as the federal government funds for you as a state, there must be joint policy.
All right.
And that joint policy is minimum wage.
Okay.
And all governors, as a legislative, legal responsibility to also accept it. So to this state, it is compulsory that that money must be paid.
Okay.
All right.
We'll have to leave the conversation here now. Razak Ulukoba, convener, Campaign for Dignity and Governance. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. And finally, on the show today, join us as we celebrate two incredible women who embody the empowering mantra, quote,